Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're back out here on the review bench today. We've got the Ruger American Ranch and 300 Blackout back out, but this time with the suppressor attached. So as I mentioned in the first video, we're going to get some suppressed shooting as well and kind of see how it does. The thing about 300 Blackout is, for me personally, it really doesn't start to get cool until you throw the can on it, because shooting suppressed 300 is, I mean, it's like shooting almost a 22 LR suppressed with subsonics. It is about a movie quiet as you can possibly get. But if you're new here, thanks for joining in. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, it really does help. But what we're going to do today is I've got two different loads. So I've got some Fiocchi 220 grain. This is a hollow point boat tail load that our buddy Lucas up at Ace hooked us up with. And then we've got some 208 grain AMAX Hornady Black. So I'm anxious to see how well that does shoot. Now, I did come back previously and go ahead and sight it in for these subsonic loads. And full disclosure, there was about an 18 MOA drop from switching from the 125 grain hollow point steel case Barnell that I had it sighted in with without the suppressor, going to this 220 grain subsonic. So it is a significant drop. I mean, 300 black subsonic drops like a ton of bricks after about 150 yards. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous, but that's basically its effective range. I really wouldn't try to hit much out past 100, 150 at the most shooting subsonic. But what we're going to try today is we're going to shoot a few of these loads at 110, see how well they group, probably do a little bit of practical shooting behind one of the barricades and see how it kind of handles. This is a 16.5-inch carbine rifle with the suppressor attached. I'm using the YHM Phantom Light Tactical. So that adds about another 6.5 to 7 inches on top of the barrel. So it'll be interesting to see how well it handles. But to kind of give you an idea, I'm going to shoot 2 rounds of this 125 grain, it looks like FMJ, and compare that to 2 rounds of the subsonic Fiocchis. Kind of give you an idea of the sound difference between supersonic and subsonic. So hopefully the camera can do it a little bit of justice. And see, I'm just going to put these in the dirt just so you can kind of hear them a little bit better. Now, you can still hear the supersonic crack with the 125 grain stuff. I mean, it's not as ear piercing as what it would be without the can, but I wouldn't want to shoot a whole box without some ear pro, but a couple of shots isn't too bad. All right, so now I'm going to switch and put 2 rounds of this subsonic Fiocchi 220 grain through it and see if you guys can tell as much of a difference there at home as I can here shooting them. So here's the first one. Next one. And it is 100% hearing safe. That is a fact. So hopefully that gave a little bit of an idea of the difference between the two. But suppressed 300 blackout shooting subsonics is just a boatload of fun. But let's shoot a group of this 220 grain Fiocchi, 5 shots. I will pause in between each group to kind of give the barrel and suppressor a little bit of time to cool. And we'll just see how it does, guys. Hopefully it'll post a group. I'm not really sure. This is actually the first time I've ever shot subsonic 300 blackout for groups. So this, I got a feeling, is going to be pretty interesting. All right, first one up here, 110 yards. And I'm getting attacked by bugs today back here. Last one. All right, so definitely nothing to write home about with that first group, But we'll let it cool for a few minutes here, and then we'll try another one, guys. All right, guys, so we got our next 5 loaded up here. Let's see if we can do any better here. Way high on that one. My goodness. Way high on that one too. And back down for that one. My goodness. This stuff is all over the place. All right, so just by looking through the scope, now granted, I'm shooting at 10 power. Our scope is a max 10 power here at 110 yards, but that appears to be about minute of barn doors. So definitely not impressive to say the least. But let's let this cool for a few minutes, and we'll try some of this Hornady Black. Now, if you remember back to the first video, this Hornady Black, it shot very well unsuppressed. So be anxious to see how well it does. All right, guys, we've got our 5 rounds of the 208 grain AMAX, the Hornady Black load, loaded up here in the magazine. We're going to kind of compare these two. Now, if you remember back from the original video, we shot the 110 grain AMAX Hornady Black. It did prove to be the best load of the day unsuppressed. So kind of the thing with the suppressor is a lot of times it will mitigate the barrel harmonics a little bit, shrink your group some, but definitely did not see that with the Fiocchi. Granted, the Fiocchi is a little bit of a cheaper round. I don't know if that'll make any difference, but we'll see what this Hornady Black will do. I'm going to shoot at the center bullseye of the target just because I'm not sure if we're going to get any variation in point of impact, dropping a little bit of grain weight. So center bull, we'll see what happens here. So it's definitely a different point of impact for sure. Man. Next one up. Last one here. I believe that's it. It is. Magazine's clean, so I'll adjust the scope here a little bit while we're letting the barrel cool off, and we'll shoot 5 more and see if we can get any tighter there, guys. All right, guys, we've got our last 5 rounds of the Hornady Black here loaded up. Let's try a final group here and see if we can at least print something respectable. So let's see what we got here. My goodness. Whew, man, All right, guys, I'm going to run down and grab the target, and we can take a look at it together. All right, guys, so here's what we kind of ended up with. We had some flyers over here. I think this is from whenever I was trying to sight in to see where that 208 grain load was gonna fall. So disregard these two right here. But this is what we had to work with. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is that Fiocchi load. So right here, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So kind of give you an idea there. Gosh, I don't know what that, probably 4.5 inches in spread, big vertical spread. Now, granted, guys, this could definitely be me shooting, so I'm not going to fully fault the ammunition or the gun. However, here is the 208 grain AMAX, about the same, about a 3.5 inch spread. And here's the last one. We did get them all in the orange, but we've still got about, oh gosh, what, probably 3 inches, 3 1/4 here. So definitely nothing to write home about. I was honestly expecting a little bit better. I'm not going to lie. That's a little bit kind of frustrating for sure. But I tell you what, I've got a few rounds of that Fiocchi left. Let's step back over on the rifle range and we'll pop those off downrange at the steel, guys. All right, guys, I got about 6 rounds left of that Fiocchi 220 grain subsonic. So just going to blast them here at the steel at 100, well, about 100 yards now. And get rid of these, and we'll get some final thoughts on the rifle itself. Now, as far as fun factor goes, this rifle is a 10 out of 10, no question about it. Now, accuracy wise, again, guys, you kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. What's this gun actually intended for? A lightweight hunting rig, something that you could throw behind your truck, absolutely fits that bill perfectly. Now, as far as something that you're going to take and probably take out and shoot bench wise for small groups, probably not so much. I mean, it is what it is. It's not a precision gun. Let's try one here offhand. With the can, it definitely is a little bit nose heavy. However, it's still manageable. It's definitely fun. I tell you, there's not much more fun than subsonics, guys. All right, so there it is. That's kind of some final thoughts on the rifle itself. What do you guys think? Do those of you kind of feel the same way that maybe own the 300 Blackout version? I tell you, if you followed along in the first video, I believe I have reviewed every model of the Ruger American Ranch with the exception of the 450 Bushmaster. And still to date, my favorite one is the 5.56 version. That one was by far the most accurate, most fun, cheapest to shoot. Kind of the downside to some of the other calibers, Grendel and the 300 Blackout especially, is ammunition, not only availability but cost. So you definitely got to weigh that into the equation as well. But I tell you, it is a fun gun to shoot, especially with those subsonics. I don't know if it's going to be something I would shoot a lot, but subsonic ammunition is so expensive. If you're reloading it, it's definitely not bad. You might be able to tighten up those groups a little bit more. But if you got any questions, guys, post them up below. Let's share, like, subscribe to the channel. Let's try to get this thing to 20,000 subs. That's definitely my goal for the next upcoming year. I know it's not going to happen this year, but let's make it happen at some point anyway, guys. So follow me over on Patreon. We do have a Patreon set up. If you're so inclined to donate, it'd be greatly appreciated. Still over on Facebook if you'd like to interact, post. Always glad to talk to you guys over there. And as always, shoot straight. Later.